The second season of AMC's television series The Walking Dead premiered on October 16, 2011, and concluded on March 18, 2012, consisting of 13 episodes. The series is based on the series of comic books of the same name by Robert Kirkman, Tony Moore, and Charlie Adlard. It was developed for television by Frank Darabont, who serves as executive producer for the second season along with Kirkman, Glen Mazzara, David Alpert and Gale and Hurd. After Darabont was fired during pre-production, Mazzara served as showrunner for the second season. This season introduces the notable comic book characters Hershel Greene and Maggie Greene and is mainly set at the Greenes' farm. The season continues the story of Rick Grimes and his group of survivors as they continue to survive in a world filled with zombies. The group then encounters the farm of veterinarian Hershel Greene, where tensions arise among members of the group and the mysterious inhabitants of the farm. The season finale episode was viewed by 9 million viewers, making it the highest-rated episode of the series to that point and the most viewed episode of an original series on AMC in history, up until the premiere of the show's third season, which was watched by 10.9 million viewers. Plot: the second season begins with Rick and his group of survivors leaving Atlanta. They decide Fort Benning will be their next destination. Along the way, they encounter a traffic jam of abandoned vehicles on I-85. The group loots several vehicles and as a large horde of walkers approaches, is forced to hide under the vehicles. Carol's daughter, Sophia, chased away from the highway by 2 of the remaining walkers, runs off into the woods. Carl is accidentally shot during a search for the missing girl. The remaining group deals with interpersonal relationships while various searches for Sophia are performed. Otis, a hunter who shot Carl, leads Rick and Shane to a large, isolated farm owned by a veterinarian named Hershel Greene. The remainder of Rick's group moves to the farm while Carl recovers. The group tries to coexist alongside Hershel's family, but dangerous secrets and disagreements over leadership cause tensions to rise. Daryl leads the initiative to search for Sophia and becomes close to Carol as a result. Glenn builds a romantic relationship with Hershel's daughter Maggie and discovers that Hershel's barn is full of walkers, many of whom in life had been Hershel's friends and relatives. When Shane forces the walkers out of the barn, and the group opens fire, Sophia appears as one of the undead, and Rick shoots her. The bonds of the group are tested in the aftermath of the showdown at the barn. Carol, in her grief, withdraws, as does Daryl, who claims that the group is broken. Hershel, reacting to what has happened, orders Rick and his group to leave immediately, before disappearing to grieve for his family. Rick and Glenn go searching for Hershel and discover him drinking heavily in a local tavern. After trying to persuade Hershel to return, 2 other men enter the bar, survivors from another group. They tell Rick that Fort Benning has been overrun, and the 2 men insist on moving on to Hershel's farm, only to be repeatedly turned down by Rick. The situation rapidly turns violent, and there is a brief, bloody gunfight that leaves the 2 new arrivals dead. The dead men's former group quickly finds and opens fire on Rick, Hershel, and Glenn. The noise of the firefight attracts a large horde of walkers, and in their desperation to get away, the other group of survivors leaves Randall, one of their members, behind. Rick cannot stand the thought of leaving him to be killed by walkers, so the 3 blindfold him and take him to the farm. With the secrecy of the farm possibly compromised, Rick decides to drive Randall into the countryside and abandon him. When a disagreement with Shane botches the plan, Rick decides to bring Randall back for execution instead. Hershel's daughter Beth tries to kill herself in order to escape a seemingly hopeless situation. Carol, done with mourning, and with new resolve, does her best to bring Daryl back into the fold. The group deliberates over Randall's fate and despite Dale's protests, decides to execute him. Carl is found watching Rick as he prepares to execute Randall. Dale is fatally wounded by a walker on the farm, indirectly caused by Carl, who had previously seen the walker stuck in the mud in nearby woods and did not kill it because he did not see the walker as any harm to anyone. Daryl euthanizes Dale as an act of mercy. After Dale's funeral, the group decides they need to rediscover their humanity. They conduct a search for Randall, whom Shane had secretly released and killed nearby. Daryl and Glen, who discover that Randall died of a broken neck and was not bitten or scratched by walkers, come to the realization that the dead can reanimate without having previous exposure to the walkers. Shane uses the search for Randall as a plot to silence Rick, but the plan backfires, and Rick is faced with killing Shane. After Shane dies, he reanimates, and Carl shoots him in the head. The gunshot attracts a large horde of nearby walkers, and Rick and Carl are forced in the barn for safety. They ignite the barn after drawing walkers inside, both to draw attention and to save themselves. In the cumulative battle to save the farm, Jimmy and Patricia are killed, Andrea is left behind, and the RV is lost. Andrea attempts to survive on her own and is later rescued by a mysterious hooded person with a sword, leading chained, armless, walkers. The remaining survivors are Rick, Laurie, Carl, Glen, Daryl, Carol, T-Dog, Maggie, Beth, and Hershel regroup on the highway but are forced to make camp due to a shortage of gas. Frustrated, Rick reveals the truth behind Shane's death and what Dr. Jenner whispered to him at the CDC: whatever the plague is, they all carry it and will return as walkers upon death, even if they are not bitten or scratched by a walker. A large prison looms in the distance as the season ends. Cast. Main cast. The second season features 8 actors receiving opening credits billing, all returning from the first season. 7 were listed as main cast members in the first season, while Norman Reedus and Melissa McBride are promoted from recurring status. While McBride is credited as also starring, she is considered a series regular. Andrew Lincoln portrays Rick Grimes, the series protagonist, a former deputy sheriff from King County, Georgia, and husband of Laurie and father of Carl. John Bernthal portrays Shane Walsh, Rick's close friend, former fellow deputy sheriff and primary antagonist. Sarah Wayne Callies plays Laurie Grimes, Rick's wife and mother of Carl. Laurie Holden plays Andrea, a former successful civil rights attorney, whose younger sister Amy died in the first season. Jeffrey DeMunn portrays Dale Horvath, an older member of the group who owns an RV with whom the group travels, often the voice of reason. Stephen Yeun portrays Glen Rhee, a former pizza delivery boy and integral member of the group. Chandler Riggs plays Carl Grimes, Rick and Laurie's young son. Norman Reedus plays Daryl Dixon, the group's hunter and expert tracker. Melissa McBride is Carol Pelletier, a former victim of domestic abuse who has found new strength after the death of her abusive husband Ed. Supporting cast: Ione Singleton as Theodore T-Dog Douglas, a well-intentioned member of the group who feels underappreciated. Lauren Cohen as Maggie Greene, Hershel's elder daughter, Scott Wilson as Hershel Greene, a ranch owner who has difficulty letting Rick's group live on his farm. Emily Kinney as Beth Greene, Hershel's younger daughter. Jane McNeil as Patricia, Otis' wife. James Allen McCune as Jimmy, Beth's boyfriend. Madison Lintz as Sophia Pelletier, Carol's young daughter. Michael Zegan as Randall Culver, a teenager whom Rick, Glen and Hershel encounter as part of another group. Pruitt Taylor Vince as Otis, Hershel's ranch hand. Michael Rooker as Merle Dixon, Daryl's elder brother who disappeared in the first year Sony as seen in a hallucination. Adam Minarovich as Ed Pelletier, Carol's deceased husband in a flashback sequence. Jim Coleman as Lambert Kendall, a police officer who worked with Rick and Shane who appears in a flashback sequence. Linz Edwards as Leon Bassett, a police officer who worked with Rick and Shane who appears in a flashback sequence. Michael Raymond James as Dave, a member of Randall's group who runs into Rick, Hershel, and Glen. Aaron Munoz as Tony, a member of Randall's group. Production. After the first season aired, Deadline.com reported that Frank Darabont had let go of the entire writing staff and planned to use freelance writers for the second season. This turned out to be not entirely accurate, and Robert Kirkman was quoted as saying the changes to the writing staff would not affect the production of the show. In February 2011, it was announced that Glen Mazzara, who had written the first season episode Wildfire, had been hired as a writer-executive producer for the second season and will now put together a staff of 5 more writers. At C2E2, members of the cast confirmed that the second season would begin shooting on June 1, 2011, and that Frank Darabont would write the season premiere. At the same event, cast members speculated that acclaimed author and longtime Darabont collaborator Stephen King may write an episode. Kirkman later confirmed that along with himself, Darabont and Mazzara, the writing staff will consist of Scott M. Gimple, Evan Riley, Angela Kang and one freelance writer, David Leslie Johnson. 4 actors have joined the cast as new characters for Season 2: Scott Wilson as Hershel Greene, Lauren Cohen as his daughter Maggie, Pruitt Taylor Vince as Hershel's ranch hand Otis, and Michael Zejan as a man named Randall. A preview of Season 2 was shown during the season premiere of Breaking Bad on July 17, 2011, and a full-length trailer was released to promote Season 2 at Comic-Con 2011, on July 22, 2011. In July 2011, series developer and showrunner Frank Darabont stepped down from his position as showrunner for the series, amidst rumors that he was unable to adjust to the schedule of running a television series. Executive producer Glen Mazzara will be the series' new showrunner. Darabont's sudden departure further sparked controversy in August when The Hollywood Reporter broke a story revealing that Darabont had in fact been fired due to issues of the show's reduced budget and a strained relationship with AMC executives. The premiere aired in an extended 90-minute time slot, similar to the pilot episode. After the first 7 episodes aired, the series went on a hiatus and returned on February 12, 2012, with the final 6 episodes of the season airing until its conclusion on March 18, 2012. Rebisodes, Torn Apart, a 6-part web series, premiered on October 3, 2011 on AMC's official website. The web series is directed by special effects makeup artist and co-executive producer Greg Nicotero and tells the origin story of Hannah, also known as Bicycle Girl, the walker whom Rick Grimes' Mercy killed in the first episode. Talking Dead. Following the encore presentation of the second season premiere on October 16, 2011, a live-after show titled Talking Dead, hosted by Chris Hardwick, premiered. The series airs after encore presentations of The Walking Dead on Sunday nights. It features host Chris Hardwick discussing the latest episode with fans, actors, and producers of the show. Episodes. Reception, critical reviews. The second season received generally positive reviews with a score of 80 out of 100 based on 22 reviews on Metacritic. Some critics have been less than enthused with the second season, such as Ken Tucker of Entertainment Weekly, who now describes the series as a nighttime soap with occasional appearances by deceased but moving, flesh-rotting, flesh-eating cameo monsters. Every week, it seemed, a parcel of folks went out and rooted around for a while, sick, came back to camp, and everyone lives off the fat of Hershel's land until it was time to go out and search for Sophia again. Occasionally someone reminded Rick they're supposed to be headed for Fort Benning and he gets all huffy about not leaving any child behind. It became a parody of a Samuel Beckett play. Nate Rawlings of Times Online Entertainment section noted that the pace during the first half of this season has been brutally slow. Changes in pace would be fine if the writers had used that time well, which they have not. They've tried to develop individual characters, but each subplot meant to add a layer to a character has been quickly resolved. Other critics, such as Scott Wampler of Collider.com, recognized the mediocre first half of the season, claiming that there seemed to be a hell of a lot of water treading. However, Wampler also distinguished the increased quality of the second half, saying, "The second half of the season, on the other hand, seemed far more intense, more interesting, better written." Awards and nominations. The series received 3 nominations for the 64th Primetime Emmy Awards, winning for Outstanding Prosthetic Makeup for a Series, Miniseries, Movie or a Special for the episode, What Lies Ahead, and received nominations for Outstanding Special Visual Effects and Outstanding Sound Editing for a Series, both for Beside the Dying Fire. The series won for Best Television Presentation for the 38th Saturn Awards, while Norman Reedus received a nomination for Best Supporting Actor on Television. Ratings. On October 16, 2011, the Season 2 premiere set a new record of 7.3 million viewers. The episode also set new records for the most viewers in the 18 and 25 demographics, with 4.8 million and 4.2 million viewers respectively, making it the most watched episode of a drama in the history of basic cable television in these measures. The original broadcast and the two subsequent encore presentations of the episode drew a collective total of 11 million viewers. On February 12, 2012, the show's mid-season premiere beat its previous record by attaining 8.1 million viewers, 5.4 million in the 18 key demographic, despite airing at the same time as the second most watched Grammy Awards in history. The series once again beat its own record with the airing of the Season 2 finale on March 18, 2012, which received 9 million viewers. Home media releases. The second season was released on DVD and Blu-ray in Region 1 on August 28, 2012, in Region 2 on August 27, 2012, and in Region 4 on June 20, 2012. Special features include 11 feature ETSA All the Guts Inside, Live or Let Die, The Meat of the Music, Fire on Set, The Ink is Alive, The Sound of the Effects, In the Dead Water, You Could Make a Killing, She Will Fight, The Cast on Season 2, and Extras Wardrobe. 6 audio commentaries, for episodes, What Lies Ahead, Pretty Much Dead Already, Nebraska, Judge, Jury, Executioner, and Beside the Dying Fire. Also included is the 6-part webisode series The Walking Dead, Torn Apart, with optional commentary by Greg Nicotero, and 30 minutes of deleted scenes across 8 episodes, with optional commentary by Glen Mazzara. The second season was also released in limited edition Blu-ray packaging, featuring a zombie head with a screwdriver in the zombie's eye socket, a recreation of a scene from the second season premiere. The limited edition packaging was designed by Greg Nicotero and sculpted by McFarlane Toys. References. External links. Official website, list of The Walking Dead episodes at the Internet Movie Database, list of The Walking Dead Season 2 episodes at TV.com.